You couldn't put your money towards a more important fight. I don't think anybody can deny that now, how we are affecting the globalists, controlling the narrative at the RNC and now DNC, how InfoWars is really leading the way on how to effectively take on the New World Order. And it's amazing. Our guests, our listeners, this entire family is incredible. So that's why we try to give you the very best water filtration systems for your shower, for the water you drink, for the lowest prices that really just cut all the garbage out or bring it down to non-detectable levels. That's why we have the very widest selection of non-GMO, open-pollinated heirloom seeds. It's why we've got the huge selection of books and films and Patriot apparel to meet like-minded people and to spread the word and to promote the culture of liberty. It's why we have the very best solar panel control systems and solar panel systems out there. Again, I mean, we've gone out and found the very best units for the very lowest prices. It's what we're doing, and we have 20 to 40% off basically everything in the store. 40% off Brain Force, an amazing nootropic. We've got 30% off Survival Shield, Nascent Iodine X2. We have 20 to 40% off on the storable food that's only backordered a week or so. It's going to be so fresh. They're producing it right now. We had to really twist their arms to do it. We're powered by My Patriot Supply. It's InfoWars Select. We have their full spectrum of food at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com. We have 30% off Liver Shield, 20% off all the Patriot apparel, 20% off all survival seeds, 30% off Super Melon Super Female Vitality, 30% off Survival Shield X2, 20% off all Pro Pure water filters, 40% off Brain Force, free shipping on orders of $50 or more, 10% off additionally on top of everything when you sign up for an item on auto ship. Pick 15 days, 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever you want, so you don't have to go back and reorder. Because I believe in you reap what you sow. So everything we promote is a really good value, super high quality, whether it's vitamin mineral fusion or the joint formula and bone formula, or whether it's colloidal silver or the great natural sleep aid knockout or ozonated olive oil for your skin. It's all there. Oxy powder to flush out your guts. It's all there. Prostagard. I mean, one thing like saw palmetto of this dose is like $19.95. This thing has like 8 or 9 ingredients of the same dose level of everything known to be good for your prostate for $22. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Super good values, super organic, highest testing levels. That's what we're committed to. Plus, we know we're a target of the Food and Drug Administration, so that also helps. But we would be this clean, this perfect, quite frankly, without it, because we know we've got a lot of folks shooting at us and don't want us to be able to self-fund our operation. Okay, going back to our guest, Matt Bracken, author, researcher, former Navy SEAL, a man warning for the last few years of the Islamic Tet 2, a man warning just here 3-4 months ago that he believed going into this fall, working with Western governments, globalists, that they were going to escalate the jihad attacks from 1 a month to 1 a week to 1 a day to 4 or 5 a day. I now have a stack here of 4 or 5 attacks the last day. And, I mean, a new level. I think he called it the total treason or the absolute treason, where they changed the names from Ali and the Islamic name to David Jones. I mean, literally, David, where they say they're not Islamic as they scream Allah Akbar and blow people up. Or they say they're the victim of a bombing. Or they cut a priest head off and they said at first, oh, a crazy man cut someone's throat. So this is all happening. He just talked about probing. So he's been right so far. Matt Bracken, what do you expect to happen next?
Well, there's going to be a continuing escalation of these because it's like a jellyfish swarm. They're sending out the pheromones like a termite nest. It's not top-down command structure. It's more like pheromones or jellyfish. So people see these things and say, "Well, I can be a Nike jihadist." They call them Nike jihadists because you just get into your head, just do it. You can grab a knife and just run amok. Just do it. You get your 72 virgins. Now, an important fact is...
By the way, I want to tell these dumbasses something. You're not going to get 72 virgins. Plus, whoever wrote that should know who wants virgins anyway. Sorry, go ahead.
They believe it. But if they believe it, and they've grown up in some, pestilential third world hellhole, and they've seen fantasy pornos on, a tablet somewhere, and they're told this is what you're going to have the moment you blow yourself up forever, and you're just some dumbass inbred 1,400 years of first cousin consanguinity, inbreeding, you're going to have a lot of these Nike terrorists, whether it's with a knife and axe, mixing up some TATP. That Central Park bomb that blew off a kid from a tourist's foot, they said a few weeks later it was definitely TATP. The way I read that is that was a chemist going online and practicing. So you leave it, it's very unstable, concussion when it's at the right dryness, stepping on it would detonate it. So you put it on a trail where somebody's going to hop off of a stone onto the trail, and sure enough, it worked. So I would assume that chemist is now in mass production and also teaching other chemists. In the Islamic State, they held the University of Mosul, Iraq, for a long time in their Manhattan project there, while they had research laboratories, petrochemical industry level research laboratories, teaching chemists to make TATP wholesale and to teach other chemists.
And teaching folks how to nerve gas dogs.
And anything. But what we're going to see next is we're going to see the media continuing to run interference, and we're going to see our treasonous fools at the top, like Jay Johnson of DHS. I have to say, at this point in 2016, with people screaming Allahu Akbar every day and wiping people out, wiping out infidels, anybody in a position of authority or in the media who is promoting the mindset that there's nothing to see here is either a covert convert, whereas the Muslims say a revert, because they believe everybody is really an Islamist underneath, just trying to get out. So people like Jay Johnson, they're either a convert and they're just lying using taqiyya, or they're already making their dhimmi deal. A dhimmi is that, a status of a second-class citizen.
And by the way, I'd read about this years ago. I'm confirming this really goes on, but I did more research once you brought it up, and everything clicked. That's why Merkel and Hollande and all these people, you're absolutely right. And actually, I went to Islamic sites, they're bragging that, look, they're doing as we say to get the next phase of money and payoffs. They've got to let them kill us and then have them take it over. So Obama and everybody is showing their good dhimmis. And now that the mayor is Islamic in London, he's openly saying all this now, letting folks know that we are his slave. Go ahead.
The dhimmi, a non-Muslim dhimmi has to pay the jizya tax. And for these people in the process of committing the great treason, their bride price, their dhimmi tax, their jizya, is to betray us while looking at us in the eye and saying, I have no idea, like Jay Johnson at the Senate Intelligence Committee hearing a couple weeks ago, waving his hand and saying, I have no idea about this purge of all the Islamic words. I mean, like I said, imagine FDR telling Hoover and the FBI to purge everything about the Gestapo, SS, and Himmler and Nazi National Socialism, and to have no investigations of Germans unless the German-American Bund was there to make sure it was not prejudiced against Germans.
And let's be clear for folks that don't know history. Tell folks who the Bund is, flesh this out. People forget that the government's been ordered not to say Islamic and terror. Now Twitter's censoring it. Explain this.
People need to read Phil Haney's book, See Something, Say Nothing. He was, basically shut out and purged within the Department of Homeland Security, where he was a subject matter expert. And eventually, by 2009, they just scrubbed all the books, everything that the FBI uses, all of their investigations. That's why they say, oh, it's another lone wolf. He was radicalized on the internet. See, the internet is a safe boogeyman. And of course, the solution is
free speech is bad. Free speech is bad. That's who's to blame.
But it's really the mosques. This is the level of treason. I call FBI now, I call them faking bogus investigations. They used to say their other name was fidelity, bravery, integrity. Now it's faking bogus investigations.
And now the mosques are testing that they're allowed to preach and push this. That's why it's escalating.
And we are allowing radical imams, quote unquote imam, which would be like sending some Gestapo agent and saying, oh, he's a member of the the Nordic, what was the Germanic Odin religion. Yeah, he's an Odin priest, and we need to send him around to all the German clubs all over America in 1930s. And if you say anything about it, you're a Germanophobe. Well, right now we have these radical imams, these Muslim Brotherhood terrorists. They're going from mosque to mosque, passing out trunkloads of Wahhabist textbooks that preach murder and jihad. They are passing them out. They're funding these Wahhabi madrasa schools where the kids are just going to be...
Let's not forget the imam in Florida who even has a TV show on broadcast TV a month before was saying, murder the homosexuals. It's a favor to them. Kill them.
And it's so embarrassing to see the FBI today roll over like this. I can't imagine J. Edgar Hoover, the old FBI agents that I knew, 20, 30 years ago, they must just be tearing their hair out to see their bureau destroyed and made like a lackey, made a punk for these Muslim Brotherhood imam terrorists that are going from mosque to mosque. But the FBI is forbidden to go anywhere near the mosque without calling the liaisons from these Muslim Brotherhood front groups that are now running and directing our policy. I mean, it's Huma Ahmadid, and it's the whole, it would take all day to list all of these Muslim Brotherhood actors that are now running our foreign policy.
So let me ask you this question. If it's exponential, which it is now, you predicted that when this wasn't happening just, a couple years ago, and then 6 months ago and 3 months ago and a month ago on the show, if it's now gone from monthly to weekly to daily to every few hours, what's happening? What comes next?
Well, in Europe, we're very fortunate here in America because we get the war game out, the worst case scenario, because it's unfolding in Europe. In Sweden, for example, the police spend 90% of their effort cracking down on right-wing extremists that are complaining about the Islamic takeover. They don't go to the mosques and throw people out. So we can see in this country, from the top down, the suborned and sold out, took a dive, disgraceful FBI, they are going to continue with the towing the line that we're bringing in refugees, and anybody that's against the refugees, that's who we're going to investigate as a hater, not the people that are bringing in these. Imagine, this is like the refugee thing is a two-pronged attack. Currently, right here and now, it's biological warfare. When you read about a half dozen people with drug-resistant tuberculosis being dropped into some medium-sized town in your average flyover.
That's biowarfare. Anybody else flying with that, it's a felony if you know you have it. 22%, Associated Press admits, of the Minnesota folks that have been brought in have TB.
Right, and so this is biowar that's right now. So these kids, come end of August, they'll be in middle school next to your son or daughter, coughing. That's biowar. And in the long term, these kids are going to grow up like the Tsarnaev brothers. They're not going to ever assimilate. Their religion orders them not to assimilate. So when you see these dhimmi politicians saying, we haven't done a good enough job of assimilating our Muslims, excuse me, Muslims have a book which commands them not to assimilate, not to have non-Muslim friends, to lie to us, and always to advance Sharia. See, the real division within Islam is not moderate or non-moderate Muslims, moderate or radical. It's a division between the tactics of slow stealth hijra. We're just going to take it over like the Muslim Brotherhood has taken over our government. We're just going to bring in refugees until there's nothing you can do. At the other end are the violent jihadists that believe in shooting and blowing people up and driving over people.
Sure, what do you make of the caller earlier calling from London saying, oh, these are all false flag attacks?
Yeah, there's some department somewhere where they've got all these actors. It's bogus. But like you said, the false flag is at the top. It's the people that open the gate. If Farmer Jones has a hen house and he catches a fox in the woods and then he sticks the fox into the hen house,
he's part of it.
We don't blame the fox. We blame Farmer Jones. And then if Farmer Jones says, I have no idea how that fox got in there, then you show a tape of him and he's, videotaped him. You've got him busted.
That's my next question. How do the political elite...
Oh, it didn't happen.
This is clearly a plan, Matt. This is clearly a plan. It's all accurate. You're right. How does the political elite think they're going to get away with it? Because they've announced martial law with troops on the streets in Germany, but for the right-wingers.
At this point, the big show, like Brexit was a few weeks ago, is Trump going ahead by clear margins over Hillary. Hillary last night looked like that 1984 Apple commercial wearing her red Mal jacket. It was scary as hell. That we're going to see, I think, if Trump goes ahead in the polls, assassination attempts to the level of airplanes blowing out of the sky. By what I mean is the stakes will be so high that the people that would put a bomb on a plane would be willing to have everybody else on the plane die. Make no mistake about it. At the level of Hillary Clinton, imagine if Trump wins and we've got Attorney General